What's up everybody, I'm Hoops and Hip Hop. So a couple weeks ago, we talked about some interesting cases where people thought that Pokemon was straight up evil, and today we are going to be talking about some times where Pokemon was treated even worse. Getting the ban hammer slammed on you was never fun, and there have actually been several interesting cases, whether it be something specific within Pokemon or Pokemon as a whole, where it was straight up banned. So without further ado, let's check it out. These are 5 times that Pokemon was banned. The first one we'll be talking about is the first one that happened chronologically. Back in 2001, Saudi Arabia banned the entire Pokemon franchise in their country, claiming that it promoted Zionism, Christianity, Freemasonry, and gambling. Shortly afterwards, Qatar and Egypt then joined the ban. According to Bulbapedia, it was conveyed via local media that Pokemon was viewed as a distraction for Arabs from their conflict with the Israelis. Now, I hate to get political, but if your government does not want you to forget or momentarily escape a superficial conflict by means of something as simple as a video game, then you've got a problem. Anyway, this ban slowly faded away over time and Pokemon products slowly began to return to store shelves, although the ban significantly curbed interest in the games. It's unfortunate that something like this was able to happen, and hopefully Pokemon can continue to recover from this ban in the area as time goes on. Next up is a Pokemon Go ban where a mayor literally had the game banned from his town. You might have heard this one about this time last year when Pokemon Go first launched, but the mayor of the town of Brussels, France, issued a decree to Niantic to remove all Pokemon from appearing in his town because, as he says, it causes people to be inattentive and could cause groups of people to form at night to hunt the Pokemon, because apparently that's bad for some reason. He also likened Pokemon Go to a business, saying that other businesses have to get approval before they can set up shop, and Niantic had to do the same as well. Well, aside from that, which doesn't really make sense anyway, since any business that is done in the app is done on your phone and is essentially an online purchase, the fact that this mayor thinks the game poses a dangerous risk to his citizens is laughable, because the town of Brussels only has about 800 people. Cities like New York, LA, even Paris right next door to Brussels obviously showed no problem with the app despite housing literally millions of people, yet you think it's going to put everyone in your town in danger with a population of just 800. This guy was probably just looking for something to do in a small town like this, and it's definitely one of the most ridiculous bans that Pokemon has ever seen. Okay, so here's a pretty infamous one that went down a few years ago. This time we're not talking about Pokemon as a whole, and we will instead be discussing a rather interesting ban that happened within the franchise itself. So back in the days of Generation 5, we were introduced to the Pokemon Cofagrigus. Well, aside from being a coffin-shaped ghost type, Cofagrigus had another interesting story to its name, literally. Thanks to the GTS filter that stopped Pokemon with offensive nicknames from being traded online, Cofagrigus was banned from being traded on the GTS without a nickname because its name contains the word fag. It's obviously a bit silly to ban a Pokemon for a name that Game Freak themselves gave the Pokemon, especially since the offensive word in question was completely unintentional and has nothing to do with Cofagrigus as a Pokemon. This issue has since been fixed, however, and Cofagrigus can now be traded without a nickname, but the brief story of its ban will always be an interesting one within Pokemon's history. Going back to Pokemon Go, it was actually banned nationwide in one country shortly after its launch. Iran banned the game in their country just after its release last year, citing security concerns with the game's location-based technology. Now, based on Iran's past history, this might not come as a surprise. However, it seems that the people of Iran have found their own methods of circumventing these type of bans, so fortunately for them, it looks like the game is still playable in some capacity. Finally, for the last one on this list, we have another Pokemon Go story, but I promise it's a good one. During the period of time where cheaters started coming out of the woodworks after the game's launch, Niantic started cracking down on them by banning the cheaters' accounts and their IP addresses. Well, a mischievous Reddit user known as Pokemon Go Dev decided to test out a theory. Since Niantic was banning IP addresses, Pokemon Go Dev decided to target the national IP address of the largest cell phone carrier in Belgium and see if getting it banned would result in basically everyone in the country getting banned as well. The Reddit user ran thousands of fake scans that were tied to the IP address on Pokemon Go's servers, and sure enough, Niantic flagged it as a bot and shut down any use of the game coming from the IP address, which resulted in the ban of everyone who used that cell phone carrier, which once again was the largest in the country. The ban lasted for a couple of days before it was finally fixed, and this wasn't even the only instance of this happening. One of Brazil's national IP addresses was also incorrectly banned, which also resulted in the ban of the entire country, although this particular case was resolved in just a few hours. Regardless of what you think of Pokemon Go as a game, you can't deny that it has produced some pretty crazy stories. And there we go, those were 5 times that Pokemon was banned. Regardless of whether it's just a small part of the franchise or the franchise as a whole, hearing about such a great and family-friendly series getting banned in any capacity is always interesting, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give the video a like and let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Also, make sure to subscribe if you're new for more Pokemon content every Tuesday and Saturday, and check out my Patreon for some exclusive perks and benefits. Anyways, with all of that being said, I'll be back with another video soon, and as always, until the next one, I'll smell you guys later.